So for your own saltwater tank, you will need a filter, which I have in the back over there that I need to get done when I fill up the water and change the water today. You'll need a bubble maker for the fish to breathe, and the water quality will help with it too. And you'll need some sand, either live sand or just dry sand, but live sand will help with the black bacteria where you can have fish like kind of right away but kind of not at the same time. But you also need some rocks, which are here, here, and here, and there. So yeah, you'll need that. And if you have corals, you will need a wave maker. Like if you have corals that need the wave maker, you will need a wave maker. But I took my wave maker off because I don't really have any corals that need it. So yeah, and you will also need a light, which is up there. And you will need, let's see, oh yeah, a heater. You'll need a heater, which is way back there. And you will need a tank, right? You need a tank. So I'll recommend you start off with a 40-gallon or a 75-gallon to start off with, because these are good tanks to keep the water where it needs to be, and not a lot of swings will happen. Not a lot of water swings will happen. So yeah, if you want a big tank, I'll start off with a 75-gallon. That will fit a house and it won't be too big of a tank. It was a big tank, but not too big of a tank. So yeah, and you will probably need in the next, so you have to let it cycle for about 4 weeks, which is about a month. And you will need to get some bio stuff in a little container that you'll put in the water when you first get it set up. And you will need some stabilizer too for it, and you have to test it for about a month. And what I recommend for your first invertebrates, I recommend this urchin, because if you have a lot of algae when your tank is first cycling, put this guy in there, it will eat the algae like a champ. So yeah, I recommend that. And then get if you have a 75-gallon, get about 10 emerald crabs. And if you have a 40-gallon, get about 5 emerald crabs. And I recommend, like, for a 75-gallon, about 3 big sized urchins. And if you have small pincushion urchins and tuxedo urchins and stuff like that, I'll recommend like 10. And I'll recommend also cleaner shrimp for a beginner invert, and chocolate chip starfish. But you'll have to make sure the water is crystal clear. And what I'll recommend for a 40-gallon, the fish that I have, those two right there, the clownfish and the engineer goby, for a 40-gallon. And if you want to get a tang, I would recommend one of the dwarf tangs, like a Tamini tang or something, for a 40-gallon. If you decide to get a 40-gallon, if you do get a 40-gallon, it will be a lot cheaper to take care of than a 75-gallon. Trust me, because you have all this algae on the back of the tanks you have to clean, and you have to do a lot more maintenance in a bigger tank than you do a smaller tank. But also the water quality will be stable in a bigger tank than a smaller tank. So if you want a bigger tank, you have to do more work with it. But if you want a smaller tank, you will have to do less work, but more water swings. So you have to test it more in a 40-gallon. But yeah, for a 75-gallon, I recommend this Hoover Wrasse and this Mata Tang, and where's the other one? And the blue tang, which is somewhere up here. There he is, he's right there. I recommend the blue tang too for a 75-gallon minimum for these guys. Yeah, 75-gallon minimum for a blue tang, so just keep that in mind too. You can also get a lot more prettier fish and bigger fish in a 75-gallon than you can a 40-gallon. And I recommend the clownfish for 75-gallon and the goby for all these fish in here. I recommend for a 75-gallon. But if you, okay, I'll give you this. If you want a blue tang for a 40-gallon, you will have to get it as a baby, and then once it gets to about 6 inches, you will have to get it a bigger tank. I'll give you that. You can put it in the 40-gallon, but you will have to make sure that tank is super fine. And yeah, make sure it's super fine for the fish, and make sure there's no spikes or anything in the 40-gallon for the blue tang. But you have to take it out at minimum size 6 inches because it needs a lot more room at that stage. What else I need to talk about? Oh yeah, for the water, to make the salt water, if you're just starting off, I will recommend you do instant ocean, the instant water with our pre-made salt water, to where you can get the gist of the salt water first before you get into like making your own salt water. If you're a hobbyist that knows what you're doing, you can do instant ocean sea salt and mix it with fresh water, but you have to like measure the salt and the quality of the salt, how much salt you have in it and stuff like that. So yeah, but and then you'll have to clean the glass. You have to get a little algae scrubber that I have right there, and yeah, you have to clean off the algae. I just clean it off a little bit because I also have some inverts in here that will eat all this algae and use the algae, so I just keep a little bit of the algae in here, and the blue tang likes eating it, so yeah.
Doesn't like it. Obviously.
Yeah. If you just think about what size tank you want, and just remember, smaller, you'll have to do a lot more maintenance on it, like water quality rise, like testing on a smaller tank than you do a bigger tank. So just keep that in mind. And plus, I think bigger is always better for the fish too, but that's up to you guys. And you can get a lot more colorful fish. Like for example, I had a Korean angelfish in here, but it was getting a little too big for this tank, so I just like gave it away or something like that. Because at that time I didn't have like a 200-gallon at that time. So I was like, I might as well give it to somebody who does, or they can take care of it for me. Yeah, but yeah, that's all I really wanted to talk about. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you want to start your reef hobby and saltwater hobby, go ahead. But remember, do your research before you get stuff. And like for example, do your research on a blue tang and Mata tang and what they can be with and how big of a tank you need and stuff like that. So just do your research on stuff if you want to get into saltwater hobby. I think it will be pretty fun once you get the hang of it. So yeah, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. And yeah, peace.